item. That's all good. Because I was thinking, how close can I put my phone to my mobile phone to the other phone to be able to record it?
Oh yeah, easy this one.
So thank you very much for this. Really do appreciate it. And I know it's a bit hectic everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, sure is.
And you obviously been caught up in extra trips down the hill to Springfield and things.
Oh yeah, it was just that one day. Had a new lecturer and no assistant tutor that day, so I just went down to get Andy started.
Yeah.
Got a tutor there as well now as Andy, so.
Oh, that's good. So basically, the idea of today is to look at your specific questions and what you'd like to do and start having a look at some of the data that may or may not be readily available to you and how we can make that more readily available. So from that initial meeting, you were talking about some temporal data would be really good. And I think nearly everybody has asked for the same sort of thing. What temporal data can we get? And at the moment, a lot of it will be cut and paste or using the log data, but I'm still working with David Jones on a better solution. And we're meeting tomorrow to try, and I'm still having issues getting access to this platform that he set up through Jupyter and Python. And the thinking is once I'm able to get that access, then we'll be able to start playing. But if I can't even get access to it, then getting to a stage where it's going to be usable by anybody else is causing a lot of problems. And apparently Macs work really beautifully, but laptops, PCs don't seem to like using this system as much as the Mac. So that's a bit of a concern of how we can find some workarounds by that. But he's done some work with a few people and been able to present some nice reports and in a time frame that is much shorter than the manual way of doing it. So I'm still fingers crossed that before the end of this semester we'll be able to access some of that data for people and give you a much better way of doing it. But now it may be the plan B is that there is some of the data that you can look at the reports and do some manipulating of it to give you some of that data. So I think that was one of the things you were talking about, and the discussion forums was something else that you'd mentioned. Might like to have a look at of how you can get better involvement in that from across the board. Is that a fairly reasonable summary?
Yeah, that's a good summary. Yeah, I'm interested to see what students use of the materials, because there's a fair bit of materials on the ENG 1002 site. And there's the heat map thing that was proposed earlier, and I haven't actually tried that.
Yeah.
That might be one way of getting a bit of a feel for that. But from a week-to-week basis, as you just mentioned, if it's possible to look at that kind of data in that format at some point, then I think that would be very valuable, as other people have indicated.
The question that stems from that is, why is that what's important for you? How will you use that information?
Yeah. Well, I try not to just let students run on their own, because it's a first year course particularly. I try to keep them involved with the material and thinking about what they need to do next.
Yeah.
I have a plan for the semester that they get, checklist kind of thing, week to week we should be doing these things. And I don't put a week to week schedule on the study desk as some staff do.
Yeah.
I just provide them with this checklist of things that they should do, which is week to week.
Right.
Then I just provide resources in a rough sequence on the study desk. So I don't necessarily say, this week, students, you should be doing X, Y, and Z per week on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to encourage them to take some responsibility for that, even though they're in first year. And then when I get engaged with them via the forum or news forum or whatever, then I try to get them to do something. Don't forget, this is happening this week. You must do this, or etc. And I'd like to know that when I do something like that students are responding.
Yeah.
Or do they not respond, or do they leave it for 2 weeks still until the due date's coming up, whatever it is, before they actually do anything?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is a reasonable approach, and I think students do take action and follow what I do. But I am a little concerned in this particular course that students aren't following or aren't engaged enough that they know what to do at any time.
Yeah.
They seem to fall off the wagon somewhere and go, oh, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't provide them with enough reminders and guidance, I think. But whether that's actually working the way I think is anyone's guess without looking at some data.
Yeah. So, do you want to open up one of you, or open up the site either for this year or for last year, and share your screen?
Yep.
Let's have a look at some of the things that we can see there.
Yes, I've got the study desk open for this semester in 2002 and looking for reports.
Yeah, so can you share your screen?
I'll share the screen, sure. Screen 2. Right, so that's the...
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So for the reports, it's up on the top left under course administration.
Yep.
And yeah, if you go to the USQ Analytics one to start off with,
yep.
It is a really basic one. This one just tells you who has or hasn't looked at things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I use this a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got 6% who haven't even logged on as yet.
Yep.
So,
this time in semester, I usually click on that and send them all a message saying, I know you haven't done anything. Did you know your assignment's due Monday?
The issue with doing this through Moodle, through the study desk, is, of course, if they haven't logged on, the chances of them reading a message that you send to them are now, yes, it does go to their email, but we don't know whether they're actually opening their email to see the message. It's a quirk of this system, and I would strongly recommend actually sending the email to their email rather than it going out as the bulk message in study desk. So check those students, because you can click on, as you know, you click on those students and you can get their email addresses from there and then actually send it direct to their email address. It may just be that one bit removed that will mean that more people actually see it. And the other thing you can do is you can put a red receipt when you send an email.
Email, yes. So just a clarification then, if I click on this 6% here, and it takes me to that, and I click, click down the left-hand side here to say, these are the students I want to communicate with. And I know that sends a message because you go to the bottom and it says, no, that's not it.
Because you haven't clicked yet.
Yeah, if I click over here, say, then send message. So